you're at home this weekend, you want to get something done, you're gonna go work on the car, work on some remodeling, trim your window, but instead, your sink's clogged. What are you gonna do? Call a plumber? You're gonna watch this video, see if maybe it'll work for you.
Alright, so we have a bit of a situation here. I have a plugged drain. That is the garbage disposal. That is where the drain goes out into the normal drainage of the house, and both sides are plugged. Now a lot of times you'll see this side plugged and that side draining fine because the pathway from the garbage disposal to the normal drain gets blocked and you have to clear out that pathway. If both of them are plugged, then you could potentially have an issue with your P-trap setup down here. This off to the side. I've already been working on this a little bit, but here's my garbage disposal. I did disconnect my dishwasher because I want to minimize my variables that I have going on here. So that is makeshift disconnected and plugged off right now. And I've checked all these lines, so both are plugged, which means this pathway is clear. And I've already actually been in here and I know this is all plugged. So I have an issue in my wall. Now I've already fished a 25-foot drain cleaner, auger, whatever you want to call them, into that hole. You never want to do it from the top on either side and try and fish. You're just going to put a lot of pressure on these pipes. So all of this has to be removed so I can get a clear shot at going in here. But I went to Home Depot and rented a 50-foot one, and that's what I'm going to use right now to try and clear this drain out. Every other drain in the house is working fine. This one is not. So I need to figure this out. Now when you disconnect these fittings, you're going to want to make sure that you have a bucket down below. They come apart fairly easily, but as you can see, this is starting to make a mess. It's going to spray because there's a little bit of pressure on the line, and I have this paper towel just right over here. You can use a paper towel or a towel to help prevent it from splashing everywhere, but it's just going to make a mess of it. See, it's starting to splash, and just going to reposition this. I just want to catch everything up in this bucket. Now mind you, if you fill those sinks up above, you have to be aware that you have to have a bucket big enough to catch the amount of water that's going to be flowing out of the sink from up above. See, I got a lot of water coming out of here. And just by eyeballing it, I know that I don't have enough water up there to totally fill my bucket. It was going to be close, but as I was testing my situation, I was just making sure that I didn't go too far in terms of filling the sink up where it would exceed a bucket full, because then I would have to fill up a bucket, tighten everything up, go dump it, and then fill up a bucket more. So when you're troubleshooting, just be aware of how much water you're using, and get yourself in a situation where you're not having to make too much of a mess. It does make a mess. It's water. Water is awful. I got the fitting off. This is the P-trap. It's clear. It's clear. There's nothing in the P-trap, so I know that's not the issue. I'm going to set this off to the side over here. I'm going to have to disconnect this as well. This has got to be disconnected. This is where I'm going to go at it with the auger. There's a compression fitting there. Dripping a little bit, but now I can get right at that disgusting pipe. This is a drain. Sorry folks, this is how we live. This is how everybody lives. It's just disgusting. Now I can get right at that pipe with the auger and go right down there without putting too much stress on these less rigid pipes here. So I'm gonna come back at you after I get this bucket out of the way. Like I said, I've already been through here with a 25-foot auger, and that didn't solve my problem. So now I'm gonna go at this with a 50 footer. So I'm gonna get this started. So here's what happens with these this auger. Oh, I'll just get past it. If you get to a point where there's a bend in the pipe, and there's inevitably going to be bends in the pipes, you're going to have to, what you do is you end up tightening this, and what helps you get past the bend is you tighten that, you put some pressure on the line, you want to have some slack going, and then you turn this crank, and then that will help kind of twirl and twist this and get it around whatever angle it's encountered, and help you keep going with the pathway that you're trying to clear. All right, now here's what I'm doing along the way. I'm quite a ways into this, but I'm stuck on another bend. But you don't want to be too far off the pipe, so if you have to start turning it to get it to go, if you have to start turning it to get it to go into another corner, this is what you do. There, I just cleared another bend. So it was stuck, now I'm able to move forward again with it. So, but now I can move forward with it a little bit. So this is what the crank is for. You lock that, and then you spin it, and it'll turn that inside the pipe, and clean the pipe, and auger it out. You want to be somewhat aggressive, but not too aggressive, and you're gonna have to be careful when you take it out as well. All right. Now I went in about as far as I feel comfortable going. I know I'm way in there with it, so I'm gonna start pulling this back out. I probably was maybe 6 feet shy. A couple coils, I probably pulled about 2 coils back out already, but this is one of those deals that if this doesn't do it, probably gonna have to call a professional. All right, we're a moment of truth. I got this all hooked back up here. I ended up having to take this one off too, just so I could really get in there with that auger and get a good grip on it. But after you redo these, you're gonna want to make sure that you watch those fittings and make sure that there's no leaks. A good way to do that is to slide a paper towel underneath there, maybe double layer it, come back every half hour or an hour, and just make sure that you're not gonna get any leaks. But we got at the moment of truth right now. I either solved my problem or I didn't. So this is either going to fill up with water or it's going to keep draining. I don't know. Keep in mind both sides were filling up before. It took a while. Yeah. I think I still got my problem. Maybe not. Yep, I do. So, at 50 feet I must have been close, or at least close to shoving it past the line, because I'm back at you here, and to be honest, I was standing over in my living room having a bit of a woe is me moment, and I heard the drain release and the water went down. So at about 50 feet I must have been close, or whatever was down there, I was shoving to a greater opening that allowed this drain to break free. But I did it. It's draining now. I'm running water. Now that water is running freely in here, I filled up a large pan. I'm going to boil some water. I'm going to pour boiling water down there. I'm going to pour a couple of pots of boiling water down there. I'm just going to make sure that we got good water volume going down this drain, so I make sure that I solve my problem, whatever it is, once and for all. And I'll be educating my family and being very, very selective about what they put down the garbage disposal. So a little commentary I want to add to the video. I've been having the water run for here a little bit, and it's going well. No stopping anymore. I did pour a large pan of boiling water down, and I haven't had any issues yet. I'm going to continue to let it run and drain, and I'm very happy about this. Now, I rented that 50-foot drain cleaner, auger, whatever you call them. I see them called everything under the sun since I've been looking at them. You can get a 40-foot one for fairly cheap. That was a manual 50-foot one. It was a little bit larger diameter unit. It was what I would say easier to work with than the smaller ones. When I say smaller ones, I mean this. This was kind of a pain in the butt compared to that big one. So that big one might seem intimidating, but for what I felt was making progress in the drain, the big one just worked well and felt like it worked well from the beginning. You'll again want to make sure that your fittings are all very tight and secure. I hooked my dishwasher back up. I'll have to test that here too. Really want to make sure that you dry this off really well. If this type of material gets wet, this is laminated particle board, and it bubbles and looks like crap. If some of you have older homes and someone who lived there before you didn't take care of it, you might already see this underneath your sink. But this is why you'll always want to lay a paper towel down where you did some plumbing work and just check to see if you have subtle drops. So I'm gonna run to Home Depot and return my auger that I rented for $25. And that's the moral of the story here. I've never touched an auger in my life, or a drain cleaner, whatever the heck you want to call it. I've never touched one of those in my life. Never had to have the opportunity to, never needed to. The 25-foot one I borrowed from my father-in-law, bless his heart. Appreciated that he had one available for me to use. It didn't work, obviously I had to go deeper with it, so I rented the 50-foot one, but I was faced with what could have been a $500 plus, depending on who you go with. You're victim to, or subject to, however you want to look at it, a plumber. And they could say that it's got to be scoped, it could be your vent pipe, it could be your drain. There's a number of different things that could have happened here, and because I was persistent and got at it, I was able to do my own repair here for $25. So at the end of the day, take it slow, be careful, think through what you're doing, but give it a try, because what you could do with $475 extra dollars and only spending $25 is a lot. So hope this helps, and we'll get back at you at the next project. Now, just to give you an idea how I'm cleaning this up, you do the right thing, folks. Clean the crap out of any tool you ever borrow from, or borrow from anybody, or rent from anyone. Return it the way you found it. So this was down in my disgusting drain. I don't know how well the next person is going to clean it, and pay it forward. These are little things in life. But as I'm cleaning this, I've extended it down my driveway, and I wanted to show you how far, really, essentially, into my drainage system, into my house I was. But you can see it all the way down my driveway, all the way down there. It's almost to the end down there. Anyways, this was all in the plumbing of my house, just trying to fish its way through and find a problem, but I'm going to clean this up and